Hello and welcome to Coming Home with Mama T. I'm your host, Tiara, aka Mama T, and on this podcast, we explore the journey of creating the life of our desires through mastering manifestation, maintaining a positive mindset, and living luxuriously. So let's get into it. Today, I really want to lean in to trusting our intuition as it pertains to dream work. Dream work has been coming up a lot lately in my experience, and I think it's important to take a dive into it and share my experiences and help you to lean into trusting yourself. Because I know at the beginning of my journey, I really very frequently would look to other people, and luckily for me, I was leaning into a community of people that I had been talking to, getting to know, and FaceTiming, and all sorts of things for years. So they had a better understanding of who I am and what I'm about than some random person in a Facebook group that you just throw what does colors and shapes when I meditate mean into and get 50 random ass responses from people. Nothing wrong with that. An answer could be correct. You would have to trust your intuition to discern which one is the correct answer, which one resonates with you. But at the end of the day, I truly believe that we can come up with the answers on our own. Yes, as a coach, do I want you to reach out to me and lean into me? If everyone's answering the questions on their own, well, how are we going to stay in business if we're leaders or whatever? It's not about, trying to stay in business and creating some sort of fear mongering. I think a lot of leaders and coaches do that to make you feel like you can't thrive without them. And here's the thing, we need community. And I'm going to adjust my table real quick so it might make a sound. We need community. We are pack people. I mean, are there outliers? Of course, certainly, but that for the most part, we crave some sort of connection. And when we are in a space where we're not feeling supported, we might need to find new connections out there. But honestly, there is always a place and a space for ourselves. Even if you are a leader, a coach, whatever, you don't have to have all the answers. I think it's better to have questions to help guide other people, and that's what I love to do in my own work, is help guide you to be self-reliant, to believe in yourself, to trust your faith. People think it's oh, well, it's so easy for you. Yeah, it's easy for me, but it took practice. It takes practice to learn to ask ourselves questions. It takes practice to learn to trust our own intuition when these situations arise. So an example is right now, literally, I keep waking up from these dreams, and I'm feeling, it's not like I'm in a cold sweat and I'm freaking out and I'm scared and whatever, but there's this kind of anxious feeling in my heart as I wake up from these dreams. And the dreams, I'm in situations where I just feel alone and not supported by those who are around me. For example, the one that I woke up from this morning, I was in this beautiful space, totally Instagrammable. I'm taking pictures and doing Insta stories like you do, right? But on the inside, I was not happy. I was thankful that I got to see this glorious space. I was at a football game, and I was in some random, I guess it was a sports athlete viewing space that was elevated because there was a pool and a sauna. So that's why I think it's it was on the sportscaster side. I wasn't in the box seats where parents or whatever sit. I was in with other athletes, and I was there because I knew somebody who could get us in, right? So it was a very elite experience. And so there was multiple views of the actual football game that was happening, but there was also a practice field that we could see clearly, and it was just all this glass and this bougie, like 100% my kind of vibe of like luxury, right? And so I'm just like, this is an amazing facility. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so thankful to be here. But the facility held just like vapid energy, this energy of people that did not want anything to do with me. They could not care less. There was like no connection. And it's funny because I literally was in a meeting with a coach that I work with. See, I even work with a coach. I think it's great to bounce ideas off of and get some guidance, but at the end of the day, I still trust myself. Like, hey, this is what I want to do with my business. I'm not letting somebody be like, your business needs to be this. I think, see, there's a difference. There's a difference between going on a tangent, right? There is a difference between someone just telling you everything for yourself and giving you a list of like to-dos and sending you on your merry little way, which I know that I would love. As an actor, I love just having a script. I know, like, a script that I can memorize and I know exactly what to say. I love having someone just tell me, hey, you stand over here on the stage, you stand over there on the stage, and then you walk forward and then you spin around. Maybe you do a little shimmy and then like walk off. Like, I love having everything choreographed, right? And I can just like be, right? Like, I can just allow all of it to just roll around me and go, and it's fun and it's great and it's awesome. But this is real life. And unfortunately, there is no grand director to direct us like marionettes. Or maybe it's fortunate. It's fortunate that we get to be the director of our life. We get to choose what the aesthetic is, right? Being an actor, yeah, if we have a good relationship with the director and the artistic director and whatever, like, we can maybe cultivate a community show. Like, I've been there, I've done that, where people actually ask for our opinions and our ideas, but there are some times where they're like, I have a vision and I want it to go exactly like this. And with our own lives, we should have a vision and put forth the efforts and the mindset and the actions to make it look like what we want our vision to look like. So now that I've digressed with that side story, I was talking to my coach, and we were in a group coaching setting, and they were talking about a marketing. And they were talking about all these things, and something that really resonated was this idea that we're not converting people. And I feel like it didn't just speak to like my business and how I talk about my business, because like, I'm not trying to convince anybody, right? Like, I'm not going to convince you to listen to my podcast. I'm not going to convince you to sign up for sessions and memberships and whatever. I'm not going to convince you to do that. Like, if you feel called, you're going to feel called regardless. Like, I am enough. You are enough. Our energy is enough to like make it all work. The right people will show up at the right time. That is my belief. So I am thinking about it, and it hit me on a pure soul level, because so often throughout my life, and I've talked about, like the dealing with like feeling like from 3 years old, someone telling me that I'm fat and I'm ugly and I'm whatever, put this huge fear of rejection into me and put me into like over people pleasing mode, because I felt like I had to make up for not being visually appealing to others by being on my best behavior, by being overly giving and doing whatever I could, so I would not be left alone and rejected and dejected and feeling sad and lonely and whatever. And what I've learned over the course of my life, does not matter. I could tip as much as I wanted. I can do whatever. If someone does not like me for whatever reason, they don't like my bubbly personality, just too much energy, too extra for them, it is what it is. If someone doesn't like the way I look, whether it be my weight, whether it be the color of my skin, whatever, sorry, not sorry. Can I change my weight? Sure, but that doesn't mean that person's probably going to find another reason why not to like me. So it is what it is. There's no need to convince. And so the dream very much tied into that whole fear of rejection, being in a space, and I was surrounded by people, and there really wasn't anybody that was really at all interested in talking to me, like, sitting there. And there's a difference between, okay, I'm being shy and I don't want to like lean in and talk to people versus like, hey, hi, how are you doing today? And like going up to people and being shy and not wanting to talk to people and forcing yourself to talk to people so that like you can start a conversation and like be in the group. Been there, done that, and it works out, right? Like I can tell the difference in myself when I'm being that and when I am, saying like trying to integrate into a situation and they're not at all interested in me. So like I've been to like, I don't know, a party and then, all right, I don't know anyone here, I'm new, whatever, who seems interesting enough for me to want to talk to? And so we walk over and like say hi. I've also been in spaces where it's just like same idea and you're walking around like maybe I'm in a club or something, and I've done it, living in San Diego, quote unquote, for a while. Yes, I do have friends down here and I'll reach out and say like, hey, what are you guys up to or whatever. But sometimes, I don't have anyone. I mean, it happens when I'm back in LA as well, where, everyone's kind of busy or they're doing something that I don't want to participate in, but I still want to like go out and do stuff. So San Diego, I'm more likely to actually go out. LA, I might sit and watch Netflix. But at the end of the day, I will sometimes just go out by myself, and then I will be put in places where I'm by myself and I have to force myself to meet new people or engage with new people. And it can be easy sometimes and it can be not so easy sometimes. Sometimes there are people that I don't want to engage with at all. There are times where people just want to like come up and talk to me, and then there are times where some people might seem interesting and I want to like try to engage, but for whatever reason they're very engrossed in a conversation and I don't want to interrupt, or like there's like, it doesn't seem like an opportunity is created for me to break in. And so then it's like I feel dejected and left out and all of that. And with that, it's my opportunity to be like, well, one, why do I want to talk to this person? And if it's really a true calling, if you will, like I'm like, there's something about them that I want to talk to them, so like make it, I can take that and find the opportunity, right? I can manifest the opportunity, like, oh, they don't want to talk to me, getting into a place of like, oh, they don't want to talk to me, they don't like me, whatever, taking a breath and being like, I would love to talk to this person. And I bet you, within minutes they'll like be like, hey, and like come over and talk to me. Like there's no need for me to like go crazy about it. So all that to say is what I'm learning in these dreams is, one, trusting that I am processing out this fear of rejection, because I know and trust myself enough to know that I can always put myself in places and spaces where I will meet the right people, the people that will be connected to me. I can trust myself enough to know that the content I create is magnetizing more and more of those same perfect people that I want to connect with. The same beautiful people that'll listen to the podcast, that'll like, share, subscribe to the podcast, the same beautiful people then when I have my winery, resort, and spa. They're gonna come and they're gonna host retreats and they're gonna bring their friends, or they're gonna join the retreats that I'm hosting, whatever. I magnetize the perfect people to me all day, every day. And I know they're out there. I've seen plenty of examples in my life that there are people out there who are just loving on me simply being me. Like I've even had someone just the other day be like, oh my gosh, like I could just use, very specifically, I could just use a Tiara hug right now. And I was like, oh. And I sent them a video of me like virtually hugging them, and they were like, that meant so much to me, right? And so it's just like obvious that I am seen, I am trusted, I am loved, I am chosen, I am all of these beautiful things. And I have to see myself, I have to trust myself, I have to love myself, I have to choose myself, I have to hear myself. And that's okay. And I invite you to do all of that for yourself. See yourself, hear yourself, Trust yourself. Love yourself. Choose yourself. And as you're going about that, as you lean into that trust, your intuition is going to show you so many things and give you so many answers. We don't have to have all the answers right here, right now, in this very moment. They show up for us as needed in perfect timing. Going back to the dreams, right? Understanding and trusting in our intuition, because it came to me, well, what about when you have a dream and like you're like, I don't know anything about what that means. Like that makes zero sense to me. It could be a premonition, or like very honestly, like it's like I really like to think that dreams are often working and on the subconscious level, processing something, or maybe taking us on like an astral travel experience so we can learn something, bring something back, or even further build trust. Maybe you have this amazing dream where you meet like the love of your life and you're like, oh my God, that was amazing. I want that to be my real life. And it's like telling you, hey, this is a possibility for you. Choose it. Just choose it. It could be a dream, like that's just like random shapes and sparkles and whatever. And you're like, I have no idea what this means. And then you go to some sort of like kaleidoscope museum and there's a bunch of random shapes and sparkles. And you're like, oh my gosh, that was in my dream. Premonition, right? Like you're just like, you just saw a little bit of like what's coming forward, and it doesn't have to mean anything, really. It doesn't have to mean anything, or it can mean, hey, I'm a psychic, and it's an opportunity for you to trust in your own abilities. You might not be able to quote unquote control them, but you at least know that they're there, and you can build trust in that experience. Deja vu happened. There's a reason that's a word, because it happens so frequently to us. And I know for myself, I experience it like very randomly. I don't control it, but I'm like, I feel like I've had this feeling, I've had this moment before. Where was that? And I know that I probably dreamed it like 6 months ago, and 6 months ago, like I was like very confused by the experience, and now I'm like having the experience, and I have had gone through so many experiences from that dream to the actual experience that at least I can live through the experience and experience it in a mindset that feels safe. That, maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's no meaning, right? But trust your intuition. Like, okay, I trust that even though I don't know what this is right now, or don't know what it means, the answers are going to come to me later on. Maybe you are like, oh wow, that's definitely a trigger of mine, and I have an opportunity to release that. Maybe it's like, ooh, that is totally an experience I want to have in my real life physical form. Let's focus on that. Let's put our energy there, that. Let's meditate on that so we can actually make that a real life experience. So we get to choose. We get to choose, and we get to trust. So what are you going to choose and trust for yourself? I hope you choose and trust to continue to listen to Coming Home with Mama T's. Please subscribe today and share with like 2 or 3 friends. And I also invite you to make sure that you're following me on all the socials, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, for more ways to connect and talk about your life and your experience. And I'm really excited to be one day hosting retreats with you and seeing you in the physical form. I love you so much. Ta-ta for now.